YouTube, how's it going today? Flag 1122, back again. Um, Not smoking a pipe today. My allergies have been acting up a little bit. We've gotten a lot of rain here in northwest Arkansas recently, which is wonderful, but it's caused the mold to come back, and that's not so wonderful for me. Sneezing, coughing. But anyway, I'm snoozing. Got one of my general snoozes up in the upper lip there, burning a hole in my lip. This is the original flavor portion also. Really good stuff, General. Like it. Anyway, back again with a classic pop review. It's time. It's been maybe 3 weeks since my last one, maybe a little bit longer. And today I decided to choose something that's maybe obscure to a lot of people, but it certainly isn't an obscure group to me. I decided to choose Firestarter by Tangerine Dream. And this is, hope you can see it, this is the LP version, and it's what's playing in the background. This is the soundtrack to the movie Firestarter that came out in 1984, starring Drew Barrymore, directed by Mark L. Lester, and also starring David Keith and Martin Sheen, and a wonderful turn as this kind of psychopath by George C. Scott, classic George C. Scott. It's a really cool movie. It's got some interesting things in it. Like I said, it's based on a Stephen King book, and this little girl, she has who's played by Drew Barrymore, has these sort of powers that she can make things catch on fire through the power of her mind. So she's kind of a pyrokinetic. That means that she can light fires with her mind, create fireballs out of nothing, all just from the power of her mind. And in this movie, she was born with it because her parents were experimented on by this organization, and they were given abilities of their own, and then they passed on that trait to their little daughter. Her name is Charlie in the movie. And a little bit about Tangerine Dream. If you're not familiar with Tangerine Dream, they're a pioneering electronic group that started in the late 60s, in 1967, I think, in Berlin, by a gentleman named Edgar. I think you pronounce his last name. It's a hard name to pronounce. Feroce or Feroce. He started the band along with a couple other guys, and the lineup has changed throughout all these years. But Peter Bonneman, I think, was one of the regulars, and especially in the 70s, and Paul Haslinger, I think, was another one. All the names escape me, but Edgar Feroce, I think that's how you pronounce it, definitely is the guy that started Tangerine Dream and has stuck with the band for all the years. And they've done amazing things in their long history. They started out as a kind of experimental rock band, sort of like a progressive rock band, but definitely more on the experimental side of things. And but Edgar, as time went on, he started playing around with tape recorder and sound samples and various other sound mixes and stuff like that. And he started collecting sounds, and he was definitely a forerunner in that. And this predates the sequencer, in the late 60s. So he was just definitely a forerunner in that, and then Tangerine Dream kind of became this indie electronic band, in the 70s, and influenced so many groups. I know Future Sound of London were influenced directly by Tangerine Dream, and M83, which is a recent group that's influenced by Tangerine Dream. The brilliant Vince Clarke from Depeche Mode, Erasure fame, was influenced by Tangerine Dream. Really, anybody that's interested in electronic music knows who Tangerine Dream is. They're just kind of like grandfathers of electro soundscape. And as you can, I hope you can hear it in the background, it's just beautiful, just waves of sound. All sorts of sound has been modulated and pulled, and I've been a fan for maybe 10 years. I started liking them in college and snatched up a lot of their CDs. But some of their releases, especially some of their soundtracks, like Firestarter, I have on LP, and I've always loved their soundtracks. They did course, Firestarter. They did the soundtrack for Risky Business, the soundtrack for a movie called Sorcerer, which is a really cool movie, and also the soundtrack for the movie Legend with Tom Cruise, that fantasy film. There's kind of an interesting story behind that. There was two soundtracks to that. There's a Tangerine Dream soundtrack and then a more traditional orchestral soundtrack that I think that they went with the theatrical release. I'm not sure though. I may be wrong on that. Anyway, in 1984, the movie came out, and the soundtrack to Firestarter came out, and it's got I think 11 tracks on it. It's about 41, 42 minutes long. This is side one playing right now. This is the song called Test Lab. This is a very cool song in its own right, but the next track on this LP is my favorite. It's called Charlie the Kid, and it really is kind of the theme song to this movie. It's very, very, very beautiful and very. I don't know. It's hard to explain Tangerine Dream music. I mean, anybody that likes Tangerine Dream will understand that, because it's like electronic music. I mean, a lot of people that would hear this today would think, oh, well, that's kind of like new age music, you know. Yeah, maybe, you know, but they were making music like that before there was like this new age music movement, you know. And this is the song right now, Charlie the Kid. It starts out very, very slowly, you know, and it builds up, and then it just has this amazing chord change. So it's really heartbreaking, actually, the song is, you know, because in the movie the little girl's on the run with her father from this evil government organization that are trying to basically kidnap her and her father and run tests on them and find out kind of how she got this ability that was passed on from her parents. And you know, it's a really kind of tough movie to watch, and Drew Barrymore, she does such a great performance. It's just heartbreaking. She was such a cute little kid, and she's a beautiful woman now. Always been a fan of Drew's. Anyway, and you can hear that in the background, that change. And so so gorgeous, isn't it? I love music like this. You know, it's just spiritual. It just fills you with hope and energy. Tangerine Dream, they've been around a long time. They continue to produce music. I know Edgar's son Jerome has gotten involved over the last couple of years, so it's been kind of a father-son thing for them. I hope they continue to make music. I know he's getting on up there in age, but I'll always be a fan of Tangerine Dream. So if you're not familiar with Tangerine Dream, go check them out. All their stuff can be downloaded and purchased various ways. This particular release right here is kind of hard to get. You can get the LP for a pretty decent price, you know, used on eBay or Amazon. The CD is very rare. It's out of print, and it will cost you anywhere from about $60 to about $120, depending on what kind of shape it's in. And also the cassette tape is very rare and goes for a pretty good price too. I used to have it on cassette. That's the first way that I listened to this release, was on cassette tape back in the day. But anyway, Firestarter from Tangerine Dream. Check it out. Really high recommendation on this one. That's it for me, guys and gals. Have a great weekend. Smoke good pipes. Enjoy your families. Enjoy your life. Bye-bye.